Okay, well, Mayor Hines from Rogers, thank you so much for joining us today. We are here to just get an update on the Rogers Aquatics Center because so many people are wondering what's going to open, what's not, and the reason behind it.
Yeah, so we have chosen at this point to not open our aquatic center in Rogers, and a couple of things to note about that. One is that the federal government, the White House, has decided to allow states to dictate and determine what each state deems appropriate as far as opening back up America. And likewise, I think Governor Hutchinson has done a phenomenal job coordinating with Dr. Smith in determining how Arkansas responds to that. But I also, I think that Governor Hutchinson has tried to maintain, the notion that local control and home rule is very important to us in Arkansas, and has been rolling out policies that allow individual cities and counties to make their own decisions about certain things. And so I say that to just to underscore the point that the governor and Dr. Smith have come out with guidelines that allow public pool facilities to open, and guidelines to make that available. However, similar to what your parents or grandparents might have told you when you were a kid, is that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And so while certain city pools and facilities around Arkansas can open and maintain social distancing and create a safe environment, our aquatic center is somewhat unique in that it is more like sort of a private water park. I mean, there have been days where we have more people at our water park than, say, Whitewater in Branson, Missouri, which is a large regionally local aquatic center. And so we have a different set of concerns, a different set of expectations, and really more challenges, if you will, than maybe some other facilities. And so because of that, and I can certainly outline most of those for you that differentiate our operations and facility from others, if that would help.
Well, normally you open on Memorial Day. You are not opening, or Memorial Day weekend. So this year you're not opening on Memorial Day weekend. Do you have a possible date in mind to reopen?
So we don't have a date in mind at this point. I can tell you that, it takes us we have to hire about 85 lifeguards to run that facility. It takes 58 lifeguards a day on duty to operate the facility. We're not able to even hold classes to certify lifeguards. So that would mean we would be dependent upon the already certified lifeguards in the region to be able to hire those folks. And in addition, it takes us roughly 40 people a day, or 20 people a day, 40 total hired, that are non-lifeguard, to run concessions and admissions. And so we have the issue of hiring enough certified lifeguards, which, mind you, in these times and in the parameters given to open a facility like this, we likely would have to increase the number of folks that would be on hand to maintain and regulate social distancing. And then in addition, I've got to weigh all this with the notion of, most of our lifeguards are between, 16 and 21. And I don't know how many of those individuals, both their decision, personal decision, as well as their parents' guidance, would want them to be in an environment where not only are they charged with the responsibility of regulating social distancing and whatnot, but also putting themselves at potential risk. And so, that's another facet of weighing in on opening these facilities that I'm trying to take into great consideration. And we'd love to open the facility. I mean, my kids enjoy it. My youngest daughter has been a volunteer lifeguard there before, and so certainly I understand that the community would like for this amenity to be open, and it offers a great opportunity for folks in the region and abroad, to get out and enjoy the summer months. Another consideration is the fact that our aquatic center is unique in that it attracts folks from not just Northwest Arkansas. We very often, by tracking, folks' zip codes, we see visitors from as far as Kansas City that travel here to enjoy that facility. So, that's another facet of this sort of entertainment district that we have in Rogers with the AMP and the Aquatic Center and other amenities that also play into the decision making about opening a facility like ours.
So you have daily admission where people just come for the day and they swim, use a lazy river, a couple of slides, activities, and concessions. Then you also hold events there, where those are planned, but you also have like swim lessons and those types of things. So all of those are closed for this summer. Not even the swim lessons open.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, so we could, the only thing that we determined that we could really safely operate, and regulate would be the lap pool. But that's such a small component of what occurs at that center that we would really be chasing bad money to try to open just that component of the park. With respect to the other amenities, you just think about the notion of our slides and the tower that you have to climb in order to enjoy those rides. One of the logistical kind of in the weeds arguments about these sorts of things is, you can't climb those towers without using the handrail. It's just too steep. And so you would literally have to have someone cleaning the handrail. I don't even know how you do that, hand out individual Clorox wipes, but more importantly than just the kind of contact of objects, which we're now learning or hearing from scientists that's maybe a lesser concern than just the human to human contact. But we're also learning that while being outside is great because you have the sun and the open air, we're also learning that wind plays a factor in the distance at which the virus can travel if someone were to cough or sneeze. So think of yourself standing in line on the tower and you're 25 feet below the guy or the gal in front of you, and they cough or sneeze, and the wind speed is 12 to 15 miles an hour and pulls that, and you're downwind, and pulls the virus down. So there's, you can nuance these things to death, but our, my greatest concern has to be the protection of people. The other thing I would mention is that, some folks might say that they don't have a lot of confidence in government, and that may be true in Washington, that may be true in Little Rock to a certain degree, but when it comes to local government, the vast majority of polls suggest that people do have a lot of faith in their local governments. And namely, that's because we're here living amongst, everybody, and we're just one big family. And so when we do something as a local government, it suggests that it's safe. And so that's another fear, is that, if we open this facility, though there may be people that are vulnerable, though there may be people that have grandparents living at home that fall in that vulnerable state, if we open, it almost sends this response, an alert, so to speak, that, well, if the city's opening it, then it must be safe. And there's no way practically to make an environment like that completely safe, obviously, right? It's all about, mitigating risk. And so I'm very mindful of sort of the message that sends to folks. And, we want to open Arkansas. We want to be open for business. We are open for business. The city of Rogers has never closed down or shut down any of our operations for business. As it relates to recreational things, yes, we have had to close facilities and limit the contact with lobbies and open spaces. But we're open for business. We're going to continue to conduct business in a safe manner. This is just one component of our sort of lifestyle amenities that we offer in Rogers, that it's just not practical to believe that we can open this in a safe manner at this point.
Now, what's the average admission or the amount of people who come to the Rogers Aquatics Center on an average summer day?
Yeah, so while I don't have the spreadsheets in front of me, I'll just sort of give you my best memory of the last updates. But I mean, we'll see anywhere from 800 to 1,200 people a day through that facility, and on weekends you might see a couple thousand. But a 50% capacity in the park would be roughly 500 people. And so, you're talking about Lazy River, all the slides, the splash pad, Otter Holler, the concessions area, of which we use some third-party food suppliers to supply those foods. So, it's a big operation, a lot of moving parts. It's not as simple as folks may think, and it's not like turning on a light switch. I can tell you that. I mean, it takes a lot more coordination to make this work. And I know, just like anything else in these times that we're dealing with right now, there's folks that are going to disagree with the position that I've taken on this, and I understand that. I mean, there's going to be folks that are going to throw darts at this decision because of the low numbers of the COVID spread in Benton County and in Northwest Arkansas. But, at the same time, should an event happen and contact tracing investigation lead that back to our open aquatic center, those same folks would not be throwing darts. They'd be using the dartboard as a discus to throw at me. So, that's just part of leadership, and it's part of making these tough decisions, and it's not easy, and I don't take the responsibility lightly. But at the end of the day, I've got to use, my experience in leadership and in government and life experience to make what I think are the best decisions to keep both the public safe as well as any employees that we may have.
Now, let's say you do want to reopen Rogers Aquatic Center. How much time do you need to get that staff and get everyone on board to reopen?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we have kind of been war rooming that as a staff, at a staff level. And so, let's say that we decided today we wanted to open either full force or in partial measure. I think at best we're looking at probably a month, and that would be kind of pushing logistics to be able to get the park amenities up and running, as well as folks hired and whatnot. So it's again, it's not like turning.
Be closed all summer.
There is absolutely a possibility that we don't open, and I'll tell you, there's another concern. And I know, folks say they would love for government to operate like a business, and they say that until you do, and then they really recognize that they don't want government to operate like a private business. But, I'm also weighing the financial issues involved in this. And so, say we were, comfortable opening in mid-July. Well, even if you opened at the beginning of July, you're really only looking at 2 months, just shy of 2 months of real full operation. Well, that's 2/3 of a normal season. And so, we would lose money, no question. in the overall grand scheme of things. So the longer it takes, the more it becomes just a financial decision of how much money do you want to lose by opening the facility. I think you have to weigh the human concern, the health concern. You have to weigh, and I think you also equally have to weigh the idea that opening allows people opportunities to get out and do things in the summer months that we're used to doing, quite frankly, which is enjoying the outdoors and water amenities. So it's all got to kind of mesh together, and you got to cook that cake and make sure you don't overcook it or undercook it, and those are the challenges that we're dealing with right now.
Is there anything I forgot to ask you about the Rogers Aquatics Center?
I think you covered it all. I was gonna look at some notes, and no, I think you got it.
Okay, so sad news is, for a mom like me, the Aquatic Center may not open at all, but you're, doing what you can on your end. So
yes, I think that's a fair way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate it. And when you do reopen, I guess a decision has to be made soon because we're already approaching June. So
yeah, I would think
I
think within the next 2 or 3 weeks we would need to make a decision about opening if that were to happen.
Okay, so let us know when you make that final decision.
Oh, okay, will do. It's good to see you. Stay safe.
Good to see you. Thanks, Mayor.